weekly dose of politics,
snark, and heavy metal music.
All rise, motherfucker.
For your hosts, Brandon
and Matt.
Hide the rum.
Performer hasn't been provided with a script. As a matter of fact, I have been permitted to choose my own words and discuss my own ideas regarding the choice that we face in the next few weeks. I have spent most of my life as a Democrat. I recently have seen fit to follow another course.
The defense policy of the United States is based on a simple premise. The United States does not start fights. We will never be an aggressor.
As for the peace that we would preserve, I wonder who among us would like to approach the wife or mother whose husband or son has died in South Vietnam and ask them if they think this is a peace that should be maintained indefinitely. There can be no real peace while one American is dying someplace in the world for the rest of us. We're at war with the most dangerous enemy that has ever faced mankind in his long climb from the swamp to the stars. And it's been said if we lose that war, and in so doing lose this way of freedom of ours, history will record with the greatest astonishment that those who had the most to lose did the least to prevent its happening. Well, I think it's time we ask ourselves if we still know the freedoms that were intended for us by the founding fathers.
Freedom is never more than one generation away from extinction. You and I must protect and preserve freedom here, or it will not be passed on to our children, and it will disappear everywhere in the world.
If we lose freedom here, there's no place to escape to. This is the last stand on earth. And this idea that government is beholden to the people, that it has no other source of power except the sovereign people, is still the newest and the most unique idea in all the long history of man's relation to man. This is the issue of this election. Whether we believe in our capacity for self-government or whether we abandon the American Revolution and confess that a little intellectual elite in a far distant capital can plan our lives for us better than we can plan them ourselves. Regardless of their sincerity, their humanitarian motives, those who would trade our freedom for security have embarked on this downward course. They knew that governments don't control things. A government can't control the economy without controlling people. And they know when a government sets out to do that, it must use force and coercion to achieve its purpose.
We, the people. We, the people, tell the government what to do. It doesn't tell us. We, the people, are the driver. The government is the car. Almost all the world's constitutions are documents in which governments tell the people what their privileges are. Our Constitution is a document in which we, the people, tell the government what it is allowed to do.
This administration in Washington has betrayed the working men and women of this country.
I hope we have once again reminded people that man is not free unless government is limited. There's a clear cause and effect here that is as neat and predictable as a law of physics. As government expands, liberty contracts.
A recession is when your neighbor loses his job. A depression is when you lose yours. And recovery is when President of the United States loses his.
Someday, when the time comes to deliver the final ultimatum, our surrender will be voluntary, because by that time, we will have been weakened from within spiritually, morally, and economically. The martyrs of history were not fools. Where then is the road to peace? Well, it's a simple answer after all. You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
And hello, everybody, and welcome to the machine. I am Brandon. Matt is not here with us tonight. He had a few things he had to take care of, so you are stuck with my ass and my ass alone. I apologize for that. I know everybody's here for him and not me, but you know. Hey, Anna, I was a big fan of Reagan as well, especially his speeches and stuff like that. The man was actually really, really intelligent. And actually, I got some pretty cool stuff from him. I also got stuff from JFK too, and a few other people. And I hear you, JT, on the whole, reactionary thing to allergies this year. I've been getting my ass kicked by him as well. Hey, Brian, how you doing? He says, Carrie sent me a photo of the back of a car, said I could shit a better president. You won't find any arguments here. I'm actually wearing the, lovely self-produced shirt tonight and a hat. I figured I would, not, I'd spare you guys the pain of having the glare off my bald head. So now I'm wearing a hat. I haven't worn a hat since 2006. I've worn a boonie cover a couple of times, but never wore a hat. I don't wear hats. But now I'm wearing a hat, so you're welcome. The only problem is my grape starts to itch with this thing on. And it's hard to get my fucking head. Okay, we'll get through this together. Anyhow, there's quite a few things I want to get to. A lot of audio bites and stuff like that. But I also kind of want to start off. You're not going to believe this, so I hope you're all sitting down. I'm going to start off on a more serious note, and only because I've said this multiple times, and I really do believe people need to watch out for one another. One of the bands that I listen to, they are in my rotation. No, it's probably not everybody's cup of tea, but I do like them. The lead singer, he committed suicide last night, and I want to use this time, especially with what's going on, to tell everybody, hey, check in on your people, okay? Check in on your friends, check in on your family, because you know what? I met this man many years ago, and he was larger than life, probably one of the nicest guys I ever met. You wouldn't think so, being from a death metal band and all. But he would go out of his way to talk to his fans. He was a big hugger. He was very very friendly guy, and often the ones that are most eager to, make people laugh or make them feel better are the ones who could possibly be suffering the most inside. So I want everybody to remember that, and to let you know that you're not alone. And if you have these thoughts or anything else like that, reach out. Reach out to your people. And I mean, hell, you can reach out to me. Okay, I'm a perfect stranger, but I'd rather talk to you for a few minutes than have one of my listeners come on and tell me that you're gone. So, but I want to get that out of the way. I thought that was actually really important, and I know it's really early in the show for a song, but since I did bring them up, in honor of Trevor and the Black Dahlia murder, I think I should play a song. One of theirs, of course. And I mean, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and key it up. But I think we should talk a little bit more first. How's that? How do you guys feel about that? I mean, I want to know what you guys think about what I said, and ways we can help our brothers out. JT says that is right on the head, brother. No one is alone, And man, it feels that way sometimes. Oh, I know it does. I'll be here to tell you I'm one of them. You know, I mean, I'm not, you get what I'm saying, but, you know, just watch out for your people. I mean, like I said, I don't care. I'll talk to you. You know, you need to talk to your people. Well, good. I'm glad my hat is taking all the attention, including the pin that's on the side of it. But fantastic. And by the way, it is a nice hat. It's a very nice hat. It's, you know, it's the camo thing with the Smith & Wesson M&P on it and an Edelweiss on the side. JT says, just the daily check-in thing isn't a bad idea. Had a Patriot sister been helping me through some rough moments here lately, and I'd be right there for her too. Yeah, same thing. I've helped out several people. And you know, like I said, you know, what happens more often than not is the ones that are, you know, wanting to please others more are the ones that are usually the ones that are suffering the most. And I can agree with that, on a personal level. So. And yes, constitutionalist, I know you're there. I see you back there in the corner. Keep my eye on you. Holy fuck, that didn't sound redneck at all, did it? Well, I guess I'll sound a lot redneck because I'm going to Kentucky. But yeah, yeah, like I said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and play the song, in honor of Trevor and the Black Dahlia Murder. They've been around quite a long time. They are damn good bands, damn good musicians, and a really good band. Like I said, most people may or may not like them. I personally put them in my rotation. I can agree with that too. Constitutionalist, I can understand that completely. It says, I believe that when we get our freedoms back from the tyrants, people will have a much better outlook on life. Yeah, no question there. But I'm going to go ahead and play the song, so I will be right back. I hope you enjoy this. Some of you will, some of you won't, but it's in honor of them.
Certificate
And that, of course, was one of the songs from the band Black Dahlia Murder. The song called "To a Breathless Oblivion." It's still hard to. I've lost some friends from this, so it kind of does. Hit home a little bit. That Trevor wasn't a friend. I didn't know the guy personally. I just knew him through interactions with the band and stuff like that as a fan, but. Still, it just makes you, remember all the people that, tomorrow could have been a brighter day. And believe me, like constitutionalists said, we definitely need some brighter days, and it's got to happen soon, people. It's got to happen soon. Microphone's annoying me. There we go. That's much better. Anyhow, let's get into what we're supposed to be doing here, which unfortunately is modern politics. I got a few things on my list here. First one, of course, is going to be one of your hit classics from the Burn, Loot, and Murder clan, the founder of BLM. Because something happened. Something happened to her. Yes. Yeah. Let's find out, though. Let's listen to the bullshit that Patrisse Cullors actually says that we're supposed to take from her at face value when she's actually under investigation for, embezzling millions of dollars, buying $1 million home in the middle of a white neighborhood with white security guards. Not a black person in sight. It's terrible. I thought she was for Black Lives. Well, I'm here to tell you that just like everybody else already knows, Black Lives Matter never cared about Black lives. They profited off of death. And now, Brian, see, that's far too positive and definitely not it. Yeah, I'm sure you almost forgot it was Thursday. Yeah, well, I don't care. Anyhow, let's listen to Patrisse Cullors herself after her little interaction that we'll be talking about. Let's see if we can sit through it for very long.
The right-wing media and right-wing pundits are creating have created an incredibly dangerous environment for me.
I'm going to stop right there. Right-wing pundits have created a dangerous environment for her. There's millions of people that can say the same thing about your organization. Yeah. So, yeah, we're only 13 seconds into this. It's 5 minutes long.
This morning, I woke up to Candace Owens being outside of my house with a...
I wish I could wake up and have Candace Owens outside my house. It'd be awesome. I'd love to have a fucking conversation with that woman.
News crew. She was demanding that I come outside. And when I looked at the video recording of what she was asking about, she was actually asking about the Black Lives Matter Global Network Foundation property. And for some reason, seems like she thought my house was that.
Well, I can see where they can get confused because, you do own $1 million home, and you bought $1 million mansion for what you said was official business, but it's never been used for such. So, yeah.
It's unacceptable and it's dangerous that any stranger come outside of my house, but it's...
Think about that. It's unacceptable and dangerous that any stranger will come outside her house. Think about the organization and who we're talking about, and let that sink in for a second.
Really unacceptable and dangerous when Candace Owens, another Black woman who is actually working as a part of a right-wing agenda, comes outside of my house with cameras.
Oh, we know all about agendas now, don't we?
As you all know, I've experienced, and many of us have experienced, death threats. Many of us have children.
Yeah, what about the people who were murdered at the behest of your organization? They had children. What about the officers that you target, or the kids that you target? You know, and I call him a kid, even though he was an adult at the time. But you know, like Kyle Rittenhouse, for example. What about all these people being targeted? What about the neighborhoods being targeted? I guess they don't deserve the right to be safe in their own neighborhoods like you do.
Many of us are super vulnerable, and the fact that she's came outside my house and demanded things, harassed me, is unacceptable. It is
Oh, so it's unacceptable to, I don't know, show up somewhere and start harassing people? That's an interesting concept. Maybe you should have learned that yourself when you started your organization.
unacceptable. And I'm going to keep doing the work I need to do to make sure that I'm in right relationship with my community.
Well, see, that's the problem. You don't have a community anymore. See, they've turned against you, and it's not just fucking Candace Owens. You can go on YouTube right now and type in Patrice Colors and see how many reaction videos are from people of color. You know, the people that she claims are supposed to be up her ass. And even they are saying she is not for Black Lives. She never has been for Black Lives. That this whole thing has been a sham, and she's profited millions of dollars off of death.
But I'm not going to let the right wing and right wing pundits and media try to drive me against my community and have the community driven against me.
No, you've driven the community against you. We've already established this. Pull your head out of your ass.
I'm begging and pleading with all of you all to pay attention to what's happening to me and to many other people, many other leaders inside of this movement. Pay attention to what's happening, because what happened to me today has the potential to open up the floodgates of many other right-wing people that may next time be bearing arms.
See, listen to that. They may next time be bearing arms. Oh, so you mean that they're peaceful? They didn't burn down billions of dollars worth of fucking property, kill people for the hell of it, injure people, I don't know, attack just about anybody that isn't them? And I'm not talking about the color. I'm just talking about the fact that they're not part of the BLM, because there's a majority group, or not a majority group, a very large group of virtue signaling white fucks that go in there and, you know, that are part of the BLM that do this. I mean, we watch, how many thousands of videos have we watched? How many times have we had to respond to this sort of thing on here, where you have people outside peacefully, you know, eating at a bistro or something like that, and a bunch of these BLM rats come running up there and put their fist in their face and be like, you will say Black Lives Matter. You will say Black Lives Matter. And like, fuck you, we're trying to eat. They go up and they fucking take your food, do stuff like that. But we're supposed to be kissing their ass. This is what she's created. And what's funny is that, you know, all these people, especially all these Hollywood elites and stuff like that have donated to this cause, are now questioning why they've done so, because it's the money has not went to where it was supposed to. It's never went to a single black life. Well, except for hers and some of her leaders. Let's see. I'm sorry, I'm behind on comments here. She knows that her keywords will mind fuck the sheep who wears mask alone in the shower. Yeah, pretty much. Brian says, but they can do this to anybody else, like a Supreme Court justice. Yeah, we'll be getting to that too, and what that's entails too. JT says, we are so evil for not hiding in our house. Fuck you, we have kids and families too. Absolutely. And he says, funny how the coin flips. No shit. Let's see. Yes, Brian, I know you got. Remember, it's do as I do, not as I do. JT says these idiots that will push all this BS are terrified because they know they. I can't speak. He says these idiots that push all this BS are terrified because they've now pissed off real Americans, and we will see them. Right. By the way, we got 2 minutes and 30 seconds of this person too.
May next time be more violent.
I didn't even have to make it 2 seconds. May next time be more violent. Let's talk about violence, shall we? Let's talk about David Dorn. Let's talk about the guy that got killed with a hammer at one of your riots. Let's talk about, the incident with Kyle Rittenhouse, where a civilian had to step up and take care and protect himself, and all the civilians that had to be up there to protect property because the virtue signaling idiots in office decided to backpedal and allow you guys to burn and destroy stuff, for your cause. Constitutionalist says narcissistic asshats only manipulate others to benefit themselves. Absolutely true. And yes, I'm having a ho-ho moment.
This is unacceptable. Black people should be able to fight for our rights, for our right to live without being harassed, without being, without fearing for our lives.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about being harassed and being in fear for our lives. You mean like showing up to rallies and attacking rally goers, screaming in their faces, spitting on them, throwing objects at them, setting vehicles on fire. I don't know. There's many, many other instances where it was definitely not a peaceful protest, as you morons would like us to think that it was. Like that journalist standing outside. It's a fiery but mostly peaceful protest as the whole damn block behind him's on fire. Yes, it's very peaceful. Oh, we still got 2 minutes and 13 seconds.
Without having people, strangers, show up to our private and personal property. I'm still in shock. Thank God I called, obviously, my team. Thank God for community, for Black community, for Black movement community here in Los Angeles. I just really, really, y'all, I really need my family to be safe.
So do we, you stupid bitch.
I need to be safe. I need my child to be safe. And this, what happened this morning is not safety.
This will all come into play real soon here. I've got the audio from that too.
It's not what I deserve. It's not what any of us deserve.
You're right. It's not what any of us deserve. That includes me. That includes everybody that includes all the cities that you guys have destroyed in the name of what? Black Lives Matter? You have never been about Black lives. It's never been about Black lives. Not a single time have you ever reached out to... The only time you have reached out to anybody was if a white person was involved and if it was a white cop. And you've promised sunshine and rainbows. The sun, the sky's going to part and it's going to be beautiful for the families. You have your few thousand of your best buddies go out and trash a place, and that's all they get. Even the families of the dead and injured are now wanting to sue her. Some of them are suing her for not keeping up with her side of the bargain. Are we surprised at that? We always said that this was going to be a bad thing. And, make no mistake, this is what pisses me off quite a bit, especially when they get mad when you say all lives matter, because I believe Black lives matter, but I don't need to say and chant and put my fist in the air and say Black lives matter, because there is not systemic racism. There is not any of that bullshit. You can shove that right up your fucking ass. You're lying. Am I saying that racism doesn't exist? Absolutely not. Never. Not once you'll ever hear me say that, because there's at least an idiot somewhere, but it works all different directions. Okay. I love it when people say, and I've had people tell me this, that black people cannot be racist towards white people because they're not in power. So you're admitting that white people have power over you. And they're like, no, that's not true. I was like, you just said so. I was like, but racism is racism no matter who says it. That's the problem. You know, I don't understand why people can't get it through their fucking heads, especially people that, like her, that everybody does matter. Everybody's life does matter. I don't give a shit who you are. If you're good to me, I'm good to you. I don't give a damn about your color. I don't give a damn about your religion. I don't care if you're gay or straight or identify as a fucking toaster. We still got a minute and 11 seconds of this woman. And it gets better from here. By better, I mean worse.
So just be diligent when you see shit in the media and you see shit that's being talked about. Please be diligent, because they are purposefully doing this. They are purposefully building a wedge between black people, because they know that when we are together, we're stronger. And
when people are together, they are stronger. It has nothing to do with color. And I'll tell you right now, you're the one driving the wedge. We've said this before over and over and over again. You're the type of person that drives a wedge. Okay. And then you question whether or not you talk shit about all these people like Candace Owens or Ruin Leon or anybody else like that, or Gothics, or any of those that dare have a difference of opinion and call you out on your bullshit. But then they're Uncle Toms or whatever else like that you want to call them. By the way, if you actually looked up the story on Uncle Tom is actually a good person, and not it shouldn't be used as a racist term, because it's actually the opposite.
Seen what we've done this last decade. They've seen what we've done.
Yeah, so we've seen what you've done.
Trying to destroy us. They're trying to destroy me. They're trying to destroy the movement. And I just need us to be stronger. I need us to be more diligent. I need us to be more present. I need us to be clearer. I need us to be accountable. I love y'all so much.
Yeah, we want you to be accountable too.
Pray for me, pray for my family, and pray and check on black organizers.
Why? It's not all black organizers that are a problem. It's you. Well, and Al Sharpton and shit like that. But, that's besides the point. Yeah, so Patrice Cullors, everybody. That's exactly what she said earlier. And it was all over Candace Owens. And by the way, apparently this person here seems to forget that there's cameras everywhere. And many, many people are obviously recording, especially when they come to your house or whatever else like that and ask for a sit down. So if you're going to lie on a live stream to a bunch of people, you might want to make sure that the other person doesn't have the upper hand on your ass. So here's Candace Owens.
Okay, so this is insane. In real time right now, I am watching Patrice Cullors do a live claiming that I went to her property and demanded to speak to her. And she's, I only way I can describe it is she sounds like she's really scared. We're working on a documentary talking about all of the funding pertaining to Black Lives Matter. Obviously, we know that Patrice and a lot of the founders purchased $1 million homes in white neighborhoods. They also purchased a Black Lives Matter property. So we went to the property and asked if there was anyone that we could speak to, very politely, by the way. We've got cameras in tow, so there's no way she can, it's all on camera. And we just said, is there anyone we can speak to? Nobody asked us to leave. The person went inside. It was just a white man that we saw outside that was providing security, which is super interesting because obviously Patrice here is anti-police, and so she's oh my God, I think she's crying on this live, pretending that she was harassed. Like I said very politely to the guys, is there anyone we can speak to? My name's Candace Owens. We never went over the gate. It was just me ringing the doorbell, trying to speak to someone. He said absolutely nothing. He started just recording us. And we said, okay, if there's no one we can speak to, we're going to leave. Patrice is pretending to be scared because she knows that this Black Lives Matter lie is falling apart. And she doesn't know what to do. I mean, people are aware of the scam that is Black Lives Matter. She's intentionally limited the comments, so you can't even comment on this post, because I was going to comment and be like, this is a complete lie, and we have it all on camera in terms of what happened. So what you are seeing right now is the face of a woman who is pretending she's afraid of right-wing pundits, when in reality, she's being exposed as a fraud who took millions, used the faces of Black people, took millions of dollars to fund herself, to fund her lifestyle, to fund her girlfriend, and to buy $1 million mansions in neighborhoods where no Black people live. So Patrice, this footage this story that we're covering is a significant one. I have always been interested in the fraud that is Black Lives Matter, your fake tears, your crocodile tears about someone politely ringing your gate and speaking to your white security guard and asking if there was anyone that I could talk to because I was covering the story. Not really going to cut it, Patrice. This is only going to commit me further to discovering the truth about what you have done with this funding. Black people died. You used their faces to raise money. You demanded that the policing be stopped. You demanded that police officers be defunded, but you've got a private security detail outside of $1 million homes. It just doesn't work this way, sweetheart. So the truth shall set you free, or Candace Owens shall set you free, girl, because I'm about to tell the truth. All right, we're still filming. Bye.
Of course, we already know the truth. We've been talking about it for several years now since this all started. And the narration has not changed on this at all. You know, I people like her disgust me, and there's a very specific reason why they disgust me. Because they take something that should have been a positive and turn it into one big flopping fucking turd, and then wonder why people are pissed off. Make sense? Absolutely. But, you know, I can't wait to see what Candace Owens comes up with this. I think it's going to be something good, because Candace is real good at what she does. I really like her. She's very, very intelligent. And, I mean, I loved it when they put her in front of Congress, and Congress tried to basically call her white supremacist, and she took a giant shit on them. The Constitutionalist says AOC taught her well during the insurrection 4 blocks away from the unarmed riot, but feared for her life and pretended to be in the mix of the action. Right. Absolutely. And I mean, excuse me again. If she has all that money, maybe she could get that thing knot off her face. I'm just saying that big knot thing right in the middle of her forehead. But, you know, this is what happens when you piss off a bunch of people, okay? Especially when you do something as shitty as this woman has. This is what happens. Anyhow, this is how I feel about the whole thing. You know how I feel about it. You guys have been listening to me long enough to know that I do not like the organization. The organization is crap, and I call bullshit on just about everything that they're trying to portray. And it's easy. It's easy to call bullshit on it when there's a whole bunch of information about it. You know, actual crime statistics and everything else like that prove them unequivocally, you know, well, you know what I'm saying. The thing. It's hot in here. And I'm out of coffee. That kind of hurt my feelings a little bit. I don't know. What do you guys think about this? What do you guys think about Candace Owens going after and pulling up on Patrisse Cullors? And what do you think about what Patrisse Cullors said about how she was afraid and it was just this terrible thing that somebody actually approached her. What do you think about it? While I try to find something for break here. And, I've heard it time and time again. I've heard, I've been called everything but my name on multiple occasions, including, racist and neo-Nazi and everything else like that. I had one person tell me I was a neo-Nazi because I was bald. I had to explain to him the male pattern baldness is a real son of a bitch. That doesn't make you a white supremacist. And by the way, I'm a little dark for being a white supremacist. I just don't fit that that whole thing there. But yeah, I get especially when I refer to the BLM or anything else like that, I get instantly called a super racist of some sort, and I hate this person or I hate this group of people or that group of people, and that's absolutely not true at all, but that's all that they really have. This is the only argument that they have. Well, now you know why I take a camera wherever I go. JT says he thinks it's time we did that more often with cameras, so they can't directly lie about us. Yeah. By the way, speaking of people being directly lied upon, how they, the lovely government, especially Mr. Biden, say that the worst criminal organization ever brought, put together in the United States is the MAGA movement or the Patriots, and they're the most violent, ruthless people that's ever been in the United States. Kind of interesting way to think about it, isn't it? But one person, there was a left-wing journalist who decided he wanted to infiltrate one of these groups, one of these, right-wing dangerous groups, and was immediately attacked by the Antifas. The Antifas, the ones that Biden and several others say is just an idea, not an organization. Never happened. They don't, exist. Constitutionalist says, hope Candace drops the truth nuke and mops the floor with the terrorist organization. Feel like we should have throw punch everyone who unjustly calls us racist. I'd spend a lot of time punching people. That's for damn sure. But I agree in a way, because I don't know a single person who isn't getting tired of it. And they wonder why nobody's taking them seriously anymore. And that's part of it, is because every time anybody does anything at all, or, anything that they may or may not agree with is, well, you're racist. You're racist. That's a microaggression. That's micro-racism, whatever the fuck they want to call it. Whatever, all these weird buzzwords and shit like that they want to shove up your ass. Do. Trying to find a song. Somebody speak to me. This feels good. I'm going to go ahead and play this. We'll be right back.
sir. But not one of my vassals. Who are you?
I am the machine. What? I'm the machine! Okay!
You are listening to The Machine Radio Show.
Not your daddy's conservative talk radio.
Who the fuck do you think you are?
I'm the machine! Fuck that bitch business. Tonight you party with us, yes? Okay! Yeah! Yeah! Ah, skate!
And I'm back. Now let's see what else, what kind of fuckery we can get into here, huh? I got a few other things, some other clips, stuff like that. I think we get to really talk about quite a bit. And you know what? I'm going to break it up a little bit so I don't get them all put together at the same time. I'm going to go with something here. Okay. If you remember what folder we put it in, dumbass. Well, now a word from our president, huh?
They don't want to solve inflation by lowering your costs. They want to solve it by raising your taxes and lowering your income. I happen to think it's a good thing when American families have a little more money in their pockets at the end of the month. But the Republicans in Congress don't seem to think so. Their plan has actually made working families, it's going to make working families poor.
So does anybody want to explain that one to me? Because all the evidence says exactly the opposite. The one person that's actually, I don't know, to blame for this is the one that was just talking. Do they always do this projectionist bullshit, or is this, I mean, is this literally the only argument that they have? Because everything shows exactly the opposite of what he said. The rampant inflation, the high energy, the high energy costs, fuel, everything is all pointing towards his administration and his people, not the dirty, dastardly Republicans in their office. I find it. I'm going to play this again. 24 seconds long. I got to play it again. I got to hear this again.
They don't want to solve inflation by lowering your costs. They want to solve it by raising your...
Ask yourself, Mr. Child Sniffer, why we have such high inflation in the first place. Can you answer that? No, not without your teleprompter or without your people pulling the strings. But inflation is your fault. Yes. And it's continually going to be your fault. Because you have the majority.
Taxes and lowering your income. I happen to think it's a good thing.
Well, I mean, shutting down the entire country for very little reason is never going to fuck with your income either, or people losing their jobs because they opted out of a medical situation.
When American families have a little more money in their pockets at the end of the month.
We did before you got in office, you dumbass.
But the Republicans in Congress don't seem to think so. Their plan has actually made working families, it's going to make working families poor.
That's interesting. Constitutional says he is a brain-dead pedophile POS, and my previous narcissistic comments apply. Absolutely. No doubt about it. I mean, this walking fucking rectum here, the guy, the same guy who likes to shake ghost hands and can't even have a press conference without a teleprompter, and even admits that he's only allowed to call on certain people. And he wants us to believe that anything that he says is actually true when the evidence shows otherwise. I mean, why do we have inflation in the first place? That is a very, very deep hole to dig into. That's the rabbit hole I guess I don't really want to get into tonight because it would take us hours to do so. But I will give you a hint. When you I don't know, put out detrimental policies that that screw the American people, and then just keep continuously printing money and devaluing the dollar. That's where inflation goes. That's why it starts going up. And it's been getting worse and worse and worse. But, you know, what do we know about it? We're only the ones that live it. He also had this wonderful thing to say, too.
And do you take any responsibility for the inflation in this country? Do you take any responsibility for your policies?
I think our policies help, not hurt.
He thinks his policies help, not hurt. The policies are what's causing the inflation. The hell was that? Captain Plagiarism is trying to come up with something original and continues to revert to repeating radical left-wing vomit. We know this. Everybody knows this. It's just a constant thing for them. They have nothing, no leg to stand on, anything else like that. I mean, think about it here. Okay, let's put the inflation on ice for a second, and let's just talk about the gas prices. I love it. Absolutely love it. When somebody comes out and says, well, the president doesn't dictate the gas prices. No, the market does. You're right. But when the president fucks with the market, what do you think is going to happen? I mean, we went from an energy independent country to sucking the cock of OPEC again. And by the way, who do you think is OPEC? Anybody? Finally, I kind of remember. Oh, that's right. The Russians. Putin is OPEC. So we're sanctioning a country that we're getting our oil from. And by the way, at this point in time, last time I checked, as of right now, oil is under $100 a barrel. So why is gas prices still rising? Because they're not allowing them to produce enough for demand. This is all by design. This is the same thing that Obama did. Obama said, you know, under my plan, your energy prices will necessarily skyrocket because they want to try and shove this new Green Deal shit up your ass when we are not technologically capable of doing so. Look at California. They're already having brownouts now. Let's add a few more electric cars. You know, and I've said this before, it's pretty bad that Elon Musk himself, an electric car maker, says to drill for oil and produce more fuel. And most of the most of the heads of cabbage out there are like, well, we need to get off of, this and that's about, this and that about fuel. We don't want to keep burning fuel. We don't want to keep using oil and stuff like that. Do you know how many products a day that use oil? This is oil. The print on the shirt's oil. This is 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 oil. Your precious phone. Guess what? It's made from petroleum. So, anything else, smartasses? Brian says the food supply chain's all screwed up, but yet the drug lords can get their drugs in just fine. Well, of course, there's nobody watching the border. He also says, I'm down 10% in the stock market already this year. 4 years of Donald Trump, I made 80%. You tell me that, yeah. And his ISIS buddies, oh, absolutely. Yeah, I don't want to get into that either. And yes, you're absolutely correct. Biden created the volatility in the market. The Democrats created the volatility in the market. And it is all by design. But yet they want you to believe that the minority group in the country right now, in the government, which is the Republicans, are the ones driving the prices and everything else like that. That's not absolutely true at all because they are not the majority rule at this point. Constitutionalist says, this is due to his foreign oil deals. Now he shuts down our oil, so we are forced to buy from the companies that supply him with money. Absolutely. Like I said, the Russians. Now, who the fuck's colluding with the Russians? Actually, they're playing both sides of the field. They're colluding with Russia and Ukraine. Packages. Well, yeah. So this is where we are. Now, like I said, as for the inflation thing, that's a whole big can of worms that we could open and go on for quite a while. How we go on the energy thing for quite a while as well. But I want to know what you guys think about it. I mean, has his policies been doing great for you? Have they been helping you in any way, shape, or form? Can you tell me at least one good thing that the child sniffing, dementia-ridden fuck has done that has helped you for the better? Because everybody I know is suffering massively because of him and his policies. Everybody's seeing a drop in their pay. They're seeing a drop in their 401ks because, their stock market, like Brian said, stock market's gone to shit. The stock market is plummeting so fast that they can't even fucking keep up with the numbers. But blame it all on the other side. Blame it all on us, especially the violent folks. Let's see if I can find something here. Sorry, I'm trying to set up for something. Actually, we're not going to set up for that yet. I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait for you guys to respond because I want to know. I want to know what you guys think. I want to know what's been helping you. How great has things been under his perfect policies? I mean, he said so, right? They're great policies. They're helping. They're not hurting. So I want to know, how's your life been better? Because mine has gotten worse. Everybody I know has gotten worse. And Brian mentioned stock market. I mean, I sold off pretty much all my stock. I had literally about $200 worth of stock in the stock market. Guess how much my stock is worth now? It's not $200. That was a couple of years ago under another president. It's, last time I checked, about $47. I mean, my dividend check was for like 6 cents. I'll wait. I'm still waiting. I mean, I want to know what's helping you guys. Is it the stopping of the drilling and otherwise getting oil in any way, shape, or form from the U.S.? I mean, stopping all the contracts, not getting oil from Alaska anywhere, especially offshores. Yep. Brian, I wasn't going to mention that, but now that you said so, okay. Brian says what they're not telling you is the government did open up the leases for drilling, but they added a 50% drilling tax onto it. So most of the companies decided not to drill. A lot of companies said, well, fuck it. We're not going to make any money off it. Why should we do it? Let's not forget the addition of 20,000 IRS scumbags to fuck us out of every penny they can squeeze out of us. Yeah. And, history has shown who always asks for more taxes and more taxes and more taxes and more taxes. It's not the ones that he's blaming. We already know this. And yep, JT is absolutely right. Cricket noises. I don't hear nothing. Nobody can tell me. Not one person listening to this show right now, which is quite a few, can tell me how Biden's policies have helped them. None. Crazy, isn't it? Yeah, nobody, nothing. That's amazing. So I guess we'll just take a break and then we'll get started into the next thing, huh?
This is Wayland from A Killer's Confession, so pay attention. You're listening to Brandon and Matt on the Machine Radio Show.
Searching for a unique gift, something personalized for that special someone? Well, look no further. Skyscraper Vinyl offers a wide variety of custom-made products, sure to please even the most difficult person to buy a gift for. Skyscraper has anything from custom-etched glass products, vinyl decals, t-shirts, wood-based products, and even metal art. You can reach Skyscraper by phone at 217-827-7703 or visit them on Facebook at facebook.com/skyscrapervinyl. For handmade high-quality product, choose Skyscraper Vinyl. Hewitttville proud. And I'm back, and let's get into some more fun stuff, shall we? Let's see. I got some more audio cuts here I got to find. I got to dig up because I didn't put them in the right folder like a jackass. There's one of them. Okay, where the hell am I? Oh boy, this is going to be a long night. Ah, there it is. All right, so we already know that we're having issues with them wanting to teach certain things in the schools. Well, they're also wanting to really shove politics down people's throats as well, especially kids, and they're you know damn well that they're doing it with the CRT and everything else. And I got some audio cuts from some parents and one from a teacher. And actually, we're going to lead off with the teacher one.
I have struggled with the idea of returning to school, knowing that I'll be working yet again with a school division that, despite its shiny tech and flashy salary, promotes political ideologies that do not square with who I am as a believer in Christ. After reading about your lack of consideration for the growing population of concerned citizens in this division, clearly evidenced by this empty room tonight, where you shut the doors to the public, as well as the emails sent by the superintendent last year reminding me that a dissenting opinion is not allowed, even to be spoken in my personal life, going so far as to send a form to my colleagues and I encouraging us to fill it out if we hear one another speaking against the controversial policies being promoted by this school board and adopted in this county. Not only that, but within the last year, I was told in one of my so-called equity trainings that white, Christian, able-bodied females currently have the power in our schools, and that, quote, "This has to change." Clearly, you've made your point. You no longer value me or many other teachers you've employed in this county. So since my contract outlines the power that you have over my employment in Loudoun County Public Schools, I thought it necessary to resign in front of you.
Good for her. She stood up for what she believed in and got out of that school. But the problem is where's she going to teach? Because a lot of schools across the country are using this particular doctrine. This is where they're going nowadays. You know it. I know it. We've already been talking about it for a couple years now, several years now, that the school system is no longer to help and shape, free thinkers. It's to indoctrinate them into the way they think. And they don't want the parents to be involved in this. They want the parents to stay out of it and let them raise the parents' kids. That's not how it works. But there was a school board meeting that caught me a little off guard. I was listening to it, and I couldn't believe what I was hearing, even with all the bullshit that we already know about. This was a good one. Apparently, a school board member decided to be dictator and shut anybody down who was trying to talk. So let's listen to this.
Representation of facts around equity. So that's irrelevant, and you can stop.
In your opinion?
No, you can stop, Mr. Daly. You're done.
You sure you want to do that, Mr.
Yes,
Ramirez?
I do.
All right, we'll see you in court, sir. Just a reminder, you didn't need an equity.
I said you're done.
You didn't need an equity.
I said you're done.
The curriculum that's being used here in Pennsbury, diversity, inclusivity, and equity, and it's known by other phrases nationwide, often cherry picks facts to create what I feel is a predetermined narrative, which again stigmatizes certain groups of people. And yet there are many facts that are not included in the curriculum, which I think just aren't included because they don't fit the official narrative. For example, first-generation Nigerian immigrants excel to the top of the academic socioeconomic ladder of success. Or
All right. We're just you're getting into irrelevant things. We're just going to stop you there. You're done.
Who made you the king of the sport?
You're done. You're done. We're not going to take that is irrelevant.
That's important because it breaks.
You're done, Mr.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
done.
you are, Mr.
No,
Murphy. You're done. You are done.
I will sue you as well.
You're done.
No, I'm not.
You're done.
What? Based on what?
Board Policy 903. You are now being disruptive and disorderly. You're done.
You're the one
You're
who
done.
said it. You know what?
You're finished.
You can count on being sued.
Seems to me that you.
Before I allow the awesome guy, who by the way is an immigrant, to talk here, and I love what he did. This walking penis right here, I don't know. You know what? I don't even advocate for violence, but I'm surprised somebody in that room didn't walk up there and whip his ass, or at least wait for him in a fucking dark, shady spot in the parking lot, because I wouldn't have put up with that shit. And you're about to, well, we already know why, but we're going to. Oh, JT, I know. JT says, "Fuck that guy. They're lucky that all that's happening is they're being sued." That's exactly what I meant by that. I'm surprised nobody didn't wait in a dark, shady spot in the parking lot and whip his fucking ass. And like I said, I don't advocate for violence. You're not going to hear me do that on this show, but you know what? He's definitely asking for it, and I'm surprised it hasn't happened already. But there was a gentleman who is an immigrant that happened to be there, and he let him have it. And it's beautiful. Let's hear from him.
You think you can supersede the United States Constitution. I've got news for you, School Board President Benito Mussolini. Your power...
He called him Benito Mussolini.
does not supersede that of the U.S. Constitution and the First Amendment rights of the citizens of this great nation. Let's be very, very clear who has the power.
Mr.
It is
Campbell,
not government policy. Do not warn me or do not interrupt my time. This is my comment, not your comment. I'm quoting to you now from the United States Supreme Court 1964 case, New York Times versus Sullivan. This is constitutional case law in this country. This nation is founded on the, quote, profound national commitment to the principle that debate on public issues shall be uninhibited, robust, and wide open, and that it may well include vehement, caustic, and sometimes unpleasantly sharp attacks on government and public officials.
Which means this fucking walking rectum right here. And, I'm going to let this play out before I really get into what's going on with the Supreme Court. But that's a different situation altogether, and I can already hear the left going, well, so they're the same thing. No, they're not, and I'll explain why. But here.
That's constitutional case law in this nation. I don't have to be nice to you. Nobody behind me has to be nice to you. If you don't like living in the United States of America, then you can all move to Russia, Cuba, or China. This is the First Amendment. My right to critique your fascism, which is what this is constitutionally protected. We've got the school board president saying she'll do better at hitting the mute button in blatant violation of the Constitution for her lobbying and her advocacy of unconstitutional censorship. I want you, the school board, to terminate the employment of Dr. Charissa Gibson with immediate effect. And after you've terminated her employment, I want all of you to tender your resignations for hating on this country. We have a God-given constitutional right to critique you, and we can speak in any lawful tone that we see fit. And don't go looking around, Benito, because this is the United States of America.
I love this fucking guy. Somebody needs to find out who that man is, and I will gladly send him a fucking t-shirt. I'll send him a gift pack courtesy of the Machine Radio Show. If anybody can tell me who that man is and find out his address, I will do that. But since we got into this, of course, this is a school board meeting, but this is happening all across the country, even in very small towns where the school boards are to shut down anybody who dares speak out against what they're teaching their kids, which is bullshit because unfortunately for them, they're still your kids, regardless if they go to school or not. And you have an absolute right to know what they're being taught. No question. But since we got into that, since Biden is a child sniffing weirdo, is loving this whole intimidation of justices thing. He knows, well, he apparently doesn't know, or he just doesn't care, that encouraging that is illegal. It's an illegal intimidation of a justice of the peace. But how would we know that? Well, there's a few sections in certain federal laws that have to do with this. By the way, I'll read part of it. Federal law makes it a crime for a person with the intent of influencing any judge, jury, witness, or court officer in the discharge of his duty to picket or parade in or near a building or residence occupied or used by such judge. U.S. Title Code 18, Section 1507. The First Amendment is no shield to this illegal conduct. And, of course, there's U.S. Title Code 18, Section 1503, which is influencing or injuring officer or juror generally, which is kind of the same thing that I just read, only it does encompass jury intimidation, jury injury and stuff like that, and it talks about the judges and everything else, too. I know he deserves a steak dinner, but I'm a cheap motherfucker. Actually, I'm broke. But, I think he deserves at the very least a gift pack from the show. And you do realize that what's happening with the Supreme Court is actually unprecedented in the history of the United States, and I do mean the entire 200-plus year history of the United States. Nothing like this has ever happened before, where somebody has leaked information on a case that has been brought up to the Supreme Court. And most people in this country don't even understand that the Supreme Court does not make laws. They rule on the constitutionality of any sort of law. And what I think is particularly funny is they're thinking, well, this is against women's rights, and it's going to stop them from getting medically necessary things that they need, and they're too ignorant to understand that all that can happen is Roe versus Wade being overturned would just put the power back where it's supposed to be, which is the states, and the states get to decide, which means the people get to decide. So it's not, rocket science in a way. They should be able to figure this out easily, but they do not. They don't care about learning about how the system works. They just listen to what the left-wing crazies and the mainstream media like to push to them. But now, these pro-abortion activists are attacking pro-life businesses and organizations and everything else like that. They literally threw Molotov cocktails in one in Wisconsin and wrote on the wall, "If abortions aren't safe, neither are you." So that's intimidation and threats of bodily harm. And, of course, now they're outside, with what we're talking about here, which is them being outside of the Supreme Court justices' homes, which, by the way, like I said, is illegal, courtesy of, Section 18 or Section 1507 of the U.S. Title Code. Garland won't enforce anything against his ideological cronies. We absolutely know this. That's why we weren't, we've already ripped through Merrick Garland on multiple occasions, and there's no reason really to do so now because we already know the truth on that. But let's see here. Oh yeah, I just talked about that actually, that part. Yeah, and of course, like you said, Merrick Garland is not going to enforce or investigate and prosecute these problem. Yeah, I know, and they call us terrorists. They call law-abiding citizens who don't want to be left alone terrorists, but people who actually commit terrorist acts are not terrorists. They're just misunderstood. Yeah, we get that constantly. It's kind of stupid. Let's see. Radical activists have targeted religious organizations in the past week because those organizations hold pro-life religious beliefs. Those activists vandalized the Catholic Church in Boulder, Colorado, with pro-abortion slogans and anti-religion messages. Anti-religion vandalism in recent days also goes well beyond mere spray paint on doors. One radical organization suggested that its members had already stolen from a Catholic church the holiest of its contents, the Eucharist, and intend to destroy it in the act of gross sacrilege. These acts of vandalism are not just hateful, they are also clearly violent clearly violate federal law, which prohibits intentionally damaging or destroying the property of a place of religious worship, which is U.S. Title Code 18, Section 248A. And remember when the guy put, threw bacon in a mosque, or put bacon on a handle of a mosque? He got put in prison for that shit. He got in some deep shit. They get to run around with impunity and destroy churches and intimidate in any way, shape, or form, and they just nothing because they're just being misunderstood. They're protesting, but we're the violent ones. It's amazing. JT says, I'm about ready to be misunderstood. None of these fools realize what they're really messing with. They don't understand that sooner or later people are going to be fed up. They always see the effect, but never see the cause. They see the effect is why people are pissed off, or that people are pissed off. The cause, well, they just don't understand why. Why would they be so mean? And why would they react in such ways? Well, you really want me to explain that to you? Because it's your fault. Activists around the country have also prevented religious Americans from participating in religious services and plan to do so in the future. Radicals interfered with religious services in Los Angeles this past weekend. This too brazenly illegal under federal law. U.S. Title Code 18, Section 248A. Paragraph 2. Sorry. Almost forgot the paragraph part. And it says, you must not allow brazen and unlawful intimidation to go unchecked. Last fall, your department committed substantial resources to investigating parents at school board meetings. We already talked about that quite a bit. How them pesky parents are wanting to know what their kids are being taught. The failure to vigorously investigate and prosecute these crimes would send a message that your department only interested in prosecuting the Biden administration's political opponents, like parents speaking at school board meetings, leaving victims of actual crimes committed by the far left to fend for themselves. Within 2 weeks, please respond to my office. This is Josh Hawley, U.S. Senator, that wrote part of this that I'm reading. But he's absolutely correct, though. Absolutely correct. But like I said, they see the see the effect, but they don't see the cause. And by the way, he's really correct about one thing. He says, I'm going to read it again. Leaving victims of actual crimes committed by the far left to fend for themselves. They have nothing. They have no one else to blame but themselves when people start fighting back. When people finally just don't give a shit anymore and said, fuck you, we'll take care of ourselves, but you're not going to like the way we do it. People are no longer going to sit back and allow to be intimidated, to be injured in any way, shape, or form. The Pandora's box is going to get opened, and you're not going to like the response. And then you're going to sit here again, well, see, they're just so violent, and you wonder why. Well, look to yourself for that. Seems like we're getting extremely close to dumping tea in Boston. Figuratively speaking. Right. Yeah, people are just not, they're getting tired of it and they're not going to fucking deal with it much longer. It's about to get ugly and they need to understand this. They've been peaceful this entire time. They are not the ones that have caused billions of dollars in damage or murdered people or created violent crimes or violent areas in cities, taken over cities, stuff like that. No. They're law-abiding citizens who want to be left alone. They're the soccer moms. The PTA parents. That's who they are. But if you keep pushing people long enough, Something is going to happen. Does anybody remember, I've mentioned this before, does anybody remember the book Grover Dill and the Tasmanian Devil? If you have never read that book as a kid, I suggest you read it now because it is actually relevant. You get somebody backed into a corner and you keep fucking with them and fucking with them and fucking with them. Eventually something's got to give. So you know what's going to happen? They're going to act out. They're going to become that Tasmanian Devil. And I'm not talking a handful of people. I'm talking about millions of people who are going to be fed up, and they're finally going to stand up and say enough is enough. And again, you have only yourself to blame for this. Looking for something to play for break here. Yes, I know about Athens, Tennessee in 1946. A bunch of soldiers came back from the war, had enough of their government and their tyrannical actions, and fought back. Yeah, this will work. I'll be right back.
You're listening to The Machine Radio Show.
What did you say? I didn't stutter. I said
The Machine Radio Show.
You just blew my mind.
You're welcome.
Enjoy the show. It's time for a random thought from the Machine Radio Show. This is Brandon from the Machine Radio Show. Isn't it just so comforting to know that every single hand you have ever shaken has possibly had a dick in it? This has been your random thought from the Machine Radio Show.
To answer that, JT, no. I do not believe you have to be subscribed to actually respond, but they have to be logged into YouTube, I believe. I think so. I think that's how it works. I don't know. My head's so fucking clouded from allergies and stuff like that I can't keep a thought into my head at this point. So I don't know how to answer that other than I believe they have to be, it should say something about live chat underneath. You know what? I'm going to look on my phone. Okay. I'm going to get in there real quick. Try and help you out. And be sure to tell them I'm sorry for the show sucking major fucking ass tonight. No, my chat shows up right underneath of it. See, it just popped up. Of course, I'm about ready to cause a scene if something doesn't change. You're damn right. I think we all are. No, I take this shit very seriously. I know I'm a fucking goofball that, you know, has a foul mouth and does dick jokes on air, but I actually do take this show very seriously. It's one of my babies here that I'm, you know, that I care a lot about. So when I fuck up and when I can't keep a thought in my head and I ramble incoherently, kind of, almost like fucking Biden, I get really upset really quickly. I get agitated. But let's see what, you know, I don't know if I actually have anything else other than those sound bites. I don't even know what I do with my paper. Nope, I already did all those. Okay, do I have anything else up here that I'd like to get to? Besides the hilarity that Arizona is now busing migrants to the D.C. as well. And a shooting in Romeoville, Illinois. Man storms into bank, starts shooting, takes hostages, and then is fatally shot by police. So I got a couple of things I can reference to if we don't have anything else to talk about. I mean, I'm just getting excited because it's the month of May, and that means the Indianapolis 500, which will happen on the 29th. I will not be there because, you know, I'm poor as a motherfucker. But I'm going to attempt to try and watch it somehow. Online or something. I'm going to watch that shit. You better believe that. But let's see. Let's get back to... Okay, since I really don't have much else to to get to tonight. So let's see how good. I was just going to say, ask me anything, and then JT does so. The Convention of the States movement is never going to happen. We're never going to get enough to actually sign on to that. Everybody's actually afraid of that because that does open a can of worms that we just don't want to fuck with. Is it a good idea in a way? Yes. Is it a good idea in all ways? Absolutely not. But I honestly, I don't think there's enough traction to it. I don't think anything's going to happen with it. I really don't. Because we don't have near the numbers to push that yet. All right, like I said, basically you can, now at this point in time of the show, you can ask me anything. Yeah, I know. 40 billion. Constitutionalist says $40 billion to Ukraine, partly to give them a sovereign border while formula shortages. Yeah, and you know who's getting the formula? Because during the formula shortages, they are allocating formula for non-citizens. I'm not saying that, I mean, that's kind of cruel, I'm not saying that that their babies don't need to be fed. What I'm saying is they need to figure out how to fix it. And what caused it in the first place, which we already know. We talked about that earlier. Okay, I don't know why it skipped over your comment, JT. My apologies. He says exactly my point. Been saying that for a long time, and I was with them until I knew better. I get it. Yeah, the Convention of the States thing is just not going to happen. We don't have the numbers. It's not going to get pushed. All right, anything else? I figured while I'm bombing like Berlin in 1945, I would just keep the show going. Yes, I know, Nicole. I know that's what they're doing. And I'm not a bad. I'm not. When you're watching the show, you'd think otherwise. I'm not a bad guy. Okay, I think that those babies are just as important, even though that they're not here legally. But I think they need to find a better way and make sure that American citizens also have the product as well, as opposed to slapping them in the face. You know what I mean? They need to address the reason why we have a shortage in the first place. All right, next. We need to take care of the USA and stop sending money or our money overseas. We have veterans starving here that could use the $40 billion. I cannot argue with that at all. I've said that on multiple occasions that we need to deal with here first. There are a few nations out there I do believe should get our help. Maybe not, monetarily. I think we should just, yeah. See, my fucking brain's not working tonight. I'm going to start over again. Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. We should be taking care of ourselves because there's a lot of things that are happening here that could be addressed as opposed to giving money to countries overseas. But at the same time, there are allies out there that do need our assistance, and we should stick by them. Maybe dial back a little bit, but still help them out in some way. Holy shit, JT, you're killing me. If pharma hadn't pushed so many different experimental experimentals as vaccines over the years. Breast milk would still work. Yeah, I get that there's other issues causing a mother not to be able to feed. That's kind of that's kind of a mess to talk about, to be honest with you, because there's a lot of reasons why that happens. And there's a lot of times where, actually, I hate to say it, but the mothers don't want to do that because it wrecks the boobage, or at least that's what they say. But no, I agree with that, and I don't think it's the vaccines and stuff like that. Honestly, I think it's the food. I think we put so much crap in food nowadays, so many preservatives and everything else like that, that I think that's affecting either the milk production or poisoning it, and taking away the nutrients for the baby. I mean, I'm not an expert in that, so don't quote me. And he says, we are going to have to take care of the U.S. politicians, only take care of themselves, cut them out. Of course they do. See, it used to be an honor. Back in the day, it was an actual honor to serve the country. There was no paycheck. There was no health insurance. There was no, money for the rest of your life for only serving 2 years. There was the honor of being able to serve the people of the great United States. Now it's a career choice. Heavymetal formula was recalled, wiped off shelves. Yes, because the Heavymetal thing, I kind of looked into that a little bit, and part of it was because the factory that was producing the majority of it had an issue, and they were afraid that a lot of the cans were tainted. So I understand them taking them off the shelves for that. But I'm not saying that's the whole thing, but there was definitely a large portion of that should have been taken off the shelves. And that was from the manufacturer itself. They took a chunk of the Ukrainian money from the VA. Of course, they always fuck the VA. If anybody wants to know what socialism looks like, just look at the Veterans Affairs. We need to stop, Nicole says we need to stop sticking our noses in other countries' problems. One example, the Vietnam War. Yes and no. I mean, we can't go around being the world police like we have, no, but there's definitely a few times where I think we should have intervened where we haven't. But I agree with that. I take care of ourselves, and unless somebody fucks with us, we don't fuck with them. But that's not how it works, unfortunately. You know it, and I know it. All right, keep it coming. More questions. I fear that if we don't take action soon, that our economy and our country will fail before the next election. It's already failed. It's already failing now. You know it. I know it. Everybody's feeling it. I mean, rampant inflation just being one part of the problem. Supply chain issues and everything else like that. What do you think raising the gas prices is going to do? It's not just going to raise the gas prices on gas-driven cars. It's going to raise the prices on the trucks and the trains and who brings you your fucking food? Who ships the stuff across the country? The trucks and the trains. When their prices go up, your prices go up. And of course, it doesn't help when you lock down an entire country over a bug. Why bother intervening when the war machine won't let us win? Well, see, that's where you and I are on the same page. If we're going to get involved with something, I think we should have done in what we did in World War II to Iraq and Afghanistan. Fly a bunch of bombers over, drop a bunch of pamphlets into the villages and say, if you are not a part of the enemy, get the fuck out, and go in there and kick ass. None of this hearts and minds shit. I know it's savage, but still. You can do the humanitarian effort after you kick the shit out of the enemy. Not while you're kicking the shit out of the enemy. Brian, there's not enough workers, let alone enough truck drivers. We know that. That's common knowledge. When the government pays people not to work, pay more to sit at home than, to actually go do a job. Well, not only that, let's touch down on that a little bit. There's a lot of reasons. I mean, the 40-hour work week is no longer here. People don't know what it's like to work more than 32 hours. And the reason why a lot of people are only working 32 hours is because their companies can get away with not paying for the Obamacare bullshit by keeping them under 34 hours. So they give them 32 hours and they call that full time. That is not full time. 40 hours is full time. There's no such thing anymore. But then, we can go at that for quite a while, but that's the gist of it. All right, keep it coming. Ask me anything, more questions. I'm waiting. Still waiting. Waiting some more. Going ahead and setting up the outro while I'm waiting on somebody to ask me a question. Why don't you elaborate on that a little bit more? JT says, no comments on live local, going back to community, sustaining themselves. Well, they punish you for that too. They want to, they want you to pay for rainwater when you collect it. They don't want you to do that at all. You can only have so big of a garden before they actually, believe it or not, tax you for it. We can go on with that for a little while too. Why hasn't the military been deployed to the border? Because they do not consider it. It's not. Geez, how to explain it? That's not what our military is for. They're not. They're not border police. That would be a different situation altogether. The National Guard can go down there and observe and report, but they can't actually do anything. The regular military, not the National Guard, like the active duties like Army, Marines and Navy, stuff like that. That's not what their job basically entails. Unless, of course, there's a flood, which there is a flood of people coming over the border, but I mean armed people that are actually trying to fight a war, trying to invade the country on a military scale, not a humanitarian one, if that makes sense. Think it is as constitutionalist says, think it is bad now, wait until the crops that weren't planted this spring don't come this fall. Right. And that doesn't just make us suffer, that makes a lot of other countries suffer. A lot of other countries suffer because we supply a lot of places with food, with grain and stuff. Nicole says, we now have an uproar of crime, murder, drugs infiltrated, everything under the sun is being destroyed on our great on our great country. I know, and that's exactly the reason why we do what we do on several different levels, which is up to and including fighting our asses off to keep what rights we do have left. Especially the right to bear arms, because they, for some reason, they think it's wise to make more victims instead of letting the people protect themselves. Live local is actually something that Jaron Jackson promotes. Literally everything is local. Food sourcing, work, building, and continuing communities. If the Amish can do it, why can't we? that's a good idea in a way, and I do believe in the buy local, shop local thing, absolutely 100%. But on the grander scale of things with larger factories and stuff like that, there's a reason why they're spread out. I mean, could you imagine if every state made every single product by themselves? There would be no place for homes. There would be no farmland left or nothing like that because there'd be nothing but factories. I get what you're trying to say, though. Right, Brian, but unless they actually come out and admit that is the problem. Brian says, yes, but the oath that you take when you go into the military is to defend against all enemies, foreign and domestic. Absolutely. But are they really going to call them the enemy? Are they going to make that declaration? Absolutely not. And furthermore, what exactly can you do once you do? I mean, you just can't go down there and just start shooting women and children for the hell of it. We're not the fucking Russians. I was in 4 states on Monday, and there were 0 crops growing. I'm in the hub of farmers. So am I. I'm in the middle of cornfield heaven. But a lot of our places are, in fact, growing stuff. I've seen a couple fields that don't look like they're ready for anything, but we have a few that are growing. I wish I had that a way to answer that properly. I think it's more of a putting a strain on the people so that they'll be compliant and be more beholden to the government. But that's a conspiracy style thing that that's what people would call it. Oh, wait a second. I keep forgetting you guys have a delay, a long delay. JT says conspiracy theorists are running out of theories. I wouldn't put it that far because there's still a big group of people that I'd like to call conspiratards. They make up these wild, outlandish things and yeah, just crazy shit that is in no way, shape, or form intelligent. It's as if the corrupt government is trying to starve us out. You would think so. I mean, with supply chain issues and not producing enough food, absolutely. Fertilizer shortages, fuel prices, taxes, etc., make it hard for the farmers. You're damn right it does. And of course, remember, the left likes to say, "Well, we don't understand why we're subsidizing these farmers. We've got to rah pay their taxes and rah this and and screw them over and everything." Well, this is why. I got friends that are farmers, and it doesn't really pay to be a farmer. It's fairly difficult to actually make a living as a farmer. Most people don't understand what it takes. And when you have the government come in and fuck you even harder, that seems to be a problem. what exactly is the military going to do about fertilizer shortages and fuel prices and taxes? They can't produce the fertilizer, which is what needs to happen. And most of your fertilizer comes from Russia. One of the biggest exporters of that particular product on Earth is Russia. And one of the biggest companies that does that is Uralkali. And right now they are in trouble because of the whole Ukrainian thing. That's one of the companies that's under sanction. The farming life is just balancing debt from year to year. Yeah, it's no shit. Yes, Nicole, they are. And I feel for anybody who decides to be a farmer. I really do. With the government, right up your ass the way they are. I mean, who would actually want to do that? You have to be an awesome person to take on that job anymore. That is a difficult thing right there. Nicole says, can't they step in and stop the president from destroying our country? In basic terms, no, they cannot. Not when it's by policy. Now, if he goes outside of policy and starts doing things, then they can actually, they have the authority to do so. But if it's just by policy, unfortunately, it's a shit sandwich and we all have to take a bite. But it looks like our time has actually run out. So I think I'm going to go ahead and end the show for the night. I've actually got to get ready for a trip. And a couple of you will actually be seeing me up close and personal really soon. Right, but yes, Nicole, they do, but that's not how this plays out. They can only intervene if it's not through policy, if he's doing things outside the realm of legal, and it has to be something so severe that they can be called up for it. I know it sucks, but it's true. But anyhow, yeah, like I said, I got to get going. I'm going to take off for the weekend, and like I said, a couple of you are going to be seeing me up close and personal. As frightening as that might be, maybe my brain will unfog so we can actually have a proper conversation and me not clam up and forget what I'm talking about. But that being said, I guess I am out of here for the night. I'd like to thank each and every one of you for joining me. I hope you like and subscribe and come back, even though this show was garbage. I am the first one to admit it. When it goes bad, it goes bad. But that's live production for you. But I will be back next week. I hope you all are as well. Have a safe weekend. And I appreciate you, and we'll see you later.
Someone else.
You